Okay, let's finish these out, shall we? Yes. So let's see. Do the easy one first. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to stop getting it really close to the camera and keep it out at a distance. The workpiece, keep the workpiece at a distance, and I think it works better that way. Yeah. Okay. I got another hand pad that's smaller. Hold on a second. I got a bunch of more hand pads from Mike. Got a large one. Yeah. On Danny Collins' website, you can look up the pads, or if you want a link, I can give you a direct link. Let's see, which one? I thought I saw a smaller one in here. Most of these are large hand pads. This one, yeah, it's thinner. It does have a dome to it. I usually try to dome it in both directions. This should work. Even though it's not domed in both directions, I think it should still work. I need to get my sander out and modify these somewhat. Yeah, it feels a little bit better. Okay. Keep it at a distance, yeah. It's much easier to knap anyway. This way. So not too much yapping today. I don't feel like talking too much. I just want to get these finished out. I'm thinking about other projects. I gotta prioritize some stuff. Or I make a priority list, I should say. Yeah. Prioritized list. Yeah. This is quite crunchy. Let's try a smaller tip. Yeah, it's still going to be crunchy, but I think it will be more controllable as far as where I take the flakes off. Yeah. With a wider tip, the flakes tend to be a little wider and a little less controlled in the beginning of the flake. So if you want more control of the flake, at least the way I do it, if you reduce the point size, it gives you a little more control. I don't know if that's true for everybody. I usually don't worry about the amount of control that I have over the flaking because I just go with it. I don't really make patterned flaking. But when it's difficult like this, when it gets kind of finicky, it needs more control. Yeah. It needs to be more controllable. It probably makes more logical sense to do a more controlled or a more controllable technique 100% of the time. But that's not my style. My style is more opportunistic and expedient. Some people say it's just lack of skill. Why would you intentionally not do it more skillfully? Because of stress. That's why. It's more stressful to do it under maximum control conditions as carefully as possible 100% of the time when you don't need to. At least I don't think I need to. And yeah, it looks less skillfully done, but it's a choice. It's not because I can't do it. It's not because I can't be more careful. It's just I choose not to be. And does that affect, or did that affect knapping in the past? Well, what do you think? Some knappers in the past, they could have done a better job, but they just didn't because something was a limiting factor. For me, I try to limit my amount of stress. That's why I don't nap every single day. I take 2 or 3 days off and don't do any napping whatsoever. If I can, I will take 4 days off and not do any napping whatsoever because of stress. Yeah, it can be enjoyable, but only if it's not overly stressful. For me, some people like to be stressed. I don't know. It feels good for them to have that stress. It makes the adrenaline pump or something. It activates the adrenaline pump and they get all pumped up. For me, stress is like a stomachache of the brain. Yeah. I can deal with it, but it makes me cranky. Obviously, irritable, on edge. The only time it pumps the adrenaline is if I switch the stress to anger. Then the adrenaline gets pumped. But anger is a negative emotion. Eventually you get burnout, or it has some harmful side effects, or both. Then people say you need to do something about your anger management issues, dude. Yeah. Why? I'm trying to be perfect. Yeah. That's why I've got anger. No, it's not a good idea. But what about taking pride in the work, man? Pride in the work. I can take pride in my work without it being perfect. Yeah. I can say I like it. Even though it's not perfect. I still say I like it. Yeah. And I'm not being dishonest. I still like it. In fact, sometimes I like it better when it's not symmetrical or not perfect. Because it doesn't look fake. It doesn't look like I'm overcompensating also. At least to me, I think that's a good thing. If it doesn't look too much, too picky. I don't know. Someone asked me to do a certain point type just earlier today. I think in the comments section. I can't remember the name now. Hold on. Walnut Canyon side notch. Yeah, that's it. I had it written down. Luckily, I brought my notes with me. Yeah, Walnut Canyon just has the side notches about halfway down in a really concave base. Should I make one out of this? Or what was I going to do? I was going to do basal notched point instead of a concave base. I don't know. I could just do the same old that I did the first time around. I could. This thing. This little arrowhead. The glass is tough. Look at that copper on the edge. Can you see it? It's eating away my flaker. Yeah, it's not gonna do anything. If I hit it harder, it'll snap in half. I know how hard I need to hit it to get this to snap in half, and I'm reaching that point. All right, so I weakened it a little bit. Maybe I can get a flake off of that one. Sometimes if you weaken one side, it will go, but it's still not going. There it goes. Why am I using percussion? Because it takes a bigger flake without shocking the piece as much. And yes, pressure does shock the piece. By bending it. It's not like a sudden shock. Pressure flaking can really bend the workpiece a lot. I consider that a shock to the piece. I suppose it's not what you normally would think of as shock, because shock seems to be sudden. But yeah, if it's just stressful, I should say stressful on the piece. I gotta make sure I'm in the middle of the frame, not just in frame, but in the middle. Because I'm not really seeing if it's perfectly in focus or not. I can't tell. Even with my higher power glasses on, I can't tell if it's in focus at this distance. It looks like it is, but you never know until you see till I put the video on the big screen. See, I need my pad to be, let's say, 1/3 smaller than this. I'm going to cut a big chunk off. See how it's hanging out? I need it to be not hanging out so much. Does it help with larger points to be a large pad? No, it does not. I try to keep a happy medium between too big and too small. Yeah, see, I need to cut a big chunk out of this pad. I'm very particular about the pads because what can happen is if there's stuff hanging out, I can drop the piece on something. It's not just because it doesn't fit quite right. It's because of the possibility of bumping the pad against something and dropping the workpiece. Also, it gets distracting. I've had to put this away so it won't bump. It's not going to do anything really, but except for the fact that I've got to pick this back up and do this again. I'd rather have this in reserve, stay there, nothing happen to it, and no bumpings against it, and everything be nice and behaved. Yeah. Faster, more efficient. All that stuff. Yeah, see, with the concave base, I was able to shoot flakes up into there. The edge is not very sharp, and it's kind of crunchy. What if I sharpen the flaker more than this? Yeah, it probably works a little bit better. But it probably won't work all that much better because it's really, really crunchy. Once it starts getting this thin, it's just the property of the glass. I'm just going to put side notches in just like normal, like what I normally do. And this is not going to be one of those Walnut Canyon side notches. I'll do a Walnut Canyon and chert. Yeah. I blew away some of the side. So doing the notching on this particular type of glass is weird because it'll blow out the sides of the notch easily. Somehow this glass is very picky. It doesn't like to be notched all that much. See, I blew away the lower side of that notch when I first started. When I first started picking on it. Okay. I might have to take the gloves off because see, I can't get my fingers fully on it unless I overlap a lot, but then I can't see under the glove. And I have small hands, so most gloves do not fit my fingers well. Right? Right. There we go. I can grip the arrowhead better. And yeah, it's important. It's important to have a firm grip on the flaker and a firm grip on the arrowhead when you're doing the notching. That way you have no travel that can mess you up. No excessive travel in the actual pressure flaking, and no excessive travel in the way that you're bumping up against the sides and stuff. It's inevitable you're going to hit the sides of the notch, yeah, but just not excessively when you hold it firmly. It'll prevent excessive side issues. Yeah, I'm not able to, for some reason, I'm not able to achieve the types of pressure flakes that I need with that pad. Yeah, there you go. I think I need to change the contour to be more domed. Round it more. Because I can get into the notch with this pad, but I can't get into the notch with the other pad. All right. So it needs to be sloped like that. This one is not sloped in that way. See that? It takes me about 45 minutes to make a pad for myself if I start from scratch. This one I already have the wood shaped correctly into the right size. All you need to do is peel this piece of leather off and glue another piece of leather onto it. But eventually the wood wears away or something happens to it. Maybe it'll split or something. And I'll have to make another one. It takes me 45 minutes to make that piece of wood. Believe it or not. Because sometimes I sand away too much of it and I got to start over. So it's not that that particular piece takes me 45 minutes. It takes me 45 minutes to make a pad from scratch for myself. I sand it, I hold it, is it going to work? Did I follow a good dimension? Should I change it slightly? What are my issues in the past? Does it need to be perfectly symmetrical? Because I know I've been wearing this side down. Maybe I need to, cut more off of this side on the next one. And I just contemplate and think and feel and move it around and sand and contemplate, feel, move it around in the sand. It just takes forever. But once I got it, I got it. And until I was extremely picky with the pads, I was not able to do pressure flaking well. I'm extremely picky with the pad. And yeah, the whole deal with me making a pad is a sweat stage from beginning to end. And a lot of the tools also, except for the rods, these are very unstressful. I like them a lot. But when I had the plastic rods with the copper inserts, it would take me forever to get the correct length off the top of the plastic. It had to be just the right length, not too short, not too long, or else I didn't like using it. So I had to modify it again. You didn't know that, huh? That the tools are not straightforward. I'm very picky about it because I hate little things that interrupt the napping. There's very few things that I don't like as much as interruptions, distractions, and so forth. Anything that distracts or interrupts is a physical pain, not only mental, but physically uncomfortable. Like someone has slapped me on the back of the head. Can you imagine doing something that you're trying to concentrate on and every once in a while someone surprises you and slaps you on the side of the head or the back of the head? It's very similar to that because it creates anxiety. It's the physical pain of anxiety that I'm talking about, not the physical pain of a slap or whatever. Yeah, with interruptions, it's very difficult. Yeah, I blew away the sides on this one even worse as far as the notching goes. I don't know. Yeah. I'll just still try for as narrow an entry as possible. Come on, where is it? There it is. Undetached flake. I could probably do some vertical notching, you know, sharp tip, and then do notching like this on this type of glass, because it crunches away easily. So if that's the case, I can probably do some vertical notching, vertical pressure notching, instead of this horizontal pressure. So yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time making this one. I'm almost done. I just blew away some of the tip. That's the opposite of what I wanted to do. Dang it. What was I trying to do? I saw a dull spot. Okay. I can't see it better. I can see it better with a lighter background. Sometimes it makes it duller when I try to make it sharper. Yep. Anyways, I have another point sitting over there I need to finish. Okay, so stop messing with this. I'll stop messing with it in a minute. Yeah, I was exploring the concept of artism when making these things. The original Flintknappers back in the day, they had to do the artistic thing because they couldn't help it, because they had artism. Yeah. That's why they look so fancy. They didn't need to do it in an artsy way, but they had to because they couldn't help it. Because they had artism. Yeah. Yeah, I could do this forever. Picking at the edges. Picking at the edges is very similar to thinning. You can just do it forever and ever and ever. All right, so there you go. That's that one. It's the same style as the other one. And yes, when they used to make sets of arrows back in the day, you could make different sizes for the same set of arrows. How is that possible when you need to make sure the weights match? It's because you're forgetting about the foreshaft. The foreshaft is part of the point. It's part of the whole thing. It's not just the arrowhead, it's the foreshaft as well. This is the arrowhead. In other words, the foreshaft plus the point is the arrowhead. So to make weight, you just adjust the size and thickness of the foreshaft. You can make them all the same weight. This one, of course, needs a longer or thicker foreshaft somewhere, or a harder wood. Right? It's easy to make weight, the same weight, if you adjust the foreshaft. That's one reason why foreshafts were made, other than it's easy to fix the arrow when you have a foreshaft, or easier. The other thing is you can match weights when you just change the dimensions of the foreshaft. Okay, and you can have all the same weight arrowheads for your arrows, when you have that combination of point and foreshaft. That way you can make different size points in your arrow set and use up the most of the material efficiently, and everybody's happy. Yeah. Except the rocks, of course. They don't want to be arrowheads. They're never happy. The rocks are never happy that you tried to make an arrowhead out of them. Yeah. They don't like it. Oh well. Did you get it? Did you understand it? Or are you going to forget it tomorrow? Or you missed it? Or you intentionally missed it? Some people just, they don't want to hear it. The foreshaft is not the arrowhead. No, it's not. It's two different things. It's apples and oranges. It's points and foreshafts. It's apples and oranges. It's not the same thing. It's not a system. These are individual components. It's a system. Yes. Comprised of individual components. Yeah. You got to take everything into account. Because if you don't, you'll go, why did they make different sizes in the same arrow set for the arrowheads? One of the reasons is they didn't need to make them the same size. Because they got foreshafts that they can adjust. Yeah. Wood is a lot more plentiful than the stone. So what are you going to adjust? You're going to adjust the stone or adjust the wood? Did I say that right? You don't have time, you don't have the resources in the stone to be trying to make the stone points all the same weight, because it wastes material. But you can waste the wood. Let's say you're making foreshafts and you make a mistake, or the foreshaft doesn't work out. It's just too long because that particular piece of wood is too light. Just get another piece of wood. What if you are working with the foreshaft and you mess up the notching? Just get another piece of wood. It's much more plentiful. It doesn't hurt to get another piece of wood. But if you're gonna trek, 3 weeks to go get your stone, that makes a big difference compared to 3 minutes to go get another piece of wood. What's the most common arrowhead material? Wood. What's the next most common arrowhead material? Bone. What's the next most common? Antler. What's the next one? Stone. Stone is the least common arrowhead material. Of course, it doesn't last. I mean, the other materials don't last as long as stone. That's why you don't see examples of them. How do we know that the wood and the bone and all that were more common than stone? Because the examples we do have show a lot more examples of wood and bone and antler. The ones that do survive. And sometimes in the dry caves you can find stashes of arrowheads. And there's one stash that was found. I read about it in the Noel Justice books. That these were a stash of 4 shafts, right? Some of them were just self points on the wood, just pointed wood. And I think 1 out of 12 or something was a stone pointed one. The other ones were just sharpened wood. Now, it could have been that they were getting ready to notch those other ones, or it could be that they were just all ready to go. And, just 1 out of the 12 or whatever it was. Maybe it was 10, maybe it was 9, maybe it was 6. But the vast majority of the points were just self wood points in that particular stash, with just 1 or 2 stone ones. Now, I know that's a very small sample size, but that's all we got to work with. Yeah. So until we get more data, we got to go with what we got. Now, there are examples of, you know, a dozen or so completed arrows that all have stone tips. Yeah, like there's some Apache arrow sets that were captured in the fighting with Indians. You know, bow and arrow sets taken off of dead Indians. And they all had stone tips on their arrows. Yeah, but that's for warfare. And the context is they were taken. Those sets were taken from Indians during battles. So yeah, but the use of stone for warfare is pretty well established. Yeah, there are battle accounts with various tribes, and even during the age of firearms, you would have Indians carrying both firearms and bows and arrows together on the same person. I read one account where they found an Indian with a dead Indian with rifles, pistols, and 2 sets of bows and arrows. I forget how many rifles and how many pistols he had with him. But he also had 2 sets of bow and arrow. Now, I don't know if he was carrying weapons for other people, which could have been the case, but that's a lot of weapons. A lot of stuff to carry into battle. I think with 2 rifles, 2 pistols, at least 2 rifles. And of course, it comes in handy if they're all preloaded. You know, if you have black powder, I think these are all black powder firearms he was carrying. You know, you want to load them all up beforehand. The more you have loaded up, the easier they are to deploy in combat. So you don't have to reload after 6 or 10 shots or whatever it is. Well, 6 shots, yeah, for sure. But rifles, lever action repeating rifles, I don't know. Those are already a different technology with the cartridges and stuff. Anyways, that was one of the accounts that I read. I wish I could remember the fine details, but nope, can't remember the fine details. Yeah, what the moral of the story is, it's been well established that stone was used in combat. For combat arrows. And of course for hunting, yes. But you don't need stone for hunting. Not for every type of hunting. You might need it for animals that are more difficult to kill, yes. Or the animals that you're stalking and not trapping. What's interesting is about Ishii, when he was working with a museum, Saxton Pope was one of the guys that was chronicling everything. He would go on deer hunts with Ishii, and Ishii was never able to, I think only once was able to kill a deer while on a hunt with the museum people. Whereas by himself he could hunt more effectively. But the point being that even with the stone-tipped arrows and stuff, it's still difficult to hunt deer. I would just as soon trap the deer or bait them in and catch them some other way than to try to shoot them with an arrow. All right, so let's see if I can clean this up here. I'm going to try to clean some of this area up. What I was thinking of doing on the 2000th video is read the book on Ishi. You know, just make videos reading the book. I still might do that. I have 3 books on Ishi, and I can take excerpts out of those books pertaining to his hunting and his arrow making and arrowhead making and all that kind of good stuff, and just do the reading. Yeah. I was going to, but then I started reading the book, but I don't read that well. I'm not one of those types that can read a book out loud clearly without messing up. So that means I got to edit the video quite a bit to take out my mess ups. And that's the thing that I don't want to do. It'll take me a whole week to make one video because I know there's going to be tons of mess ups. And I got much more to do in that particular week than one audiobook that might only get about the same amount of views as every other video I do. 1,000 views. That's it, probably. But who knows? I never know how many views a video is going to get. I was thinking this series of blue glass arrowheads was going to get a lot of views because this material is readily available. I got people asking me to do this kind of video. I got people asking me to explain my thought processes, my techniques, my trials and tribulations and successes. So I'm trying to do that. And everyone's like, meh. I don't see a huge increase. But then I do a video like the Clorox bottle bottom. And I thought I was going to get maybe, if I was lucky, I'd get 1,000 views. It blew up. I have no idea why. I guess it might be like the snowball effect. Once it starts doing well, YouTube promotes it and it does even better, and YouTube promotes it more and does even better. It's a snowball effect. It could be the snowball effect. The better it does, the better it does. And the more better it does, the more better it does. Does that make sense? Because YouTube promotes the videos that are doing well. I think that might be how it works. Yeah, I gotta stop worrying too much about the symmetry. But yeah, I thought that a video series like this was worth doing several videos on, because I explain as much as I can. But no, it's readily available. You can go get this stuff a lot of times for free, this blue glass. But no, I guess it's old hat, as they say, or meh, M-E-H. If you're on social media, you'll see people go meh when talking about certain things, or not impressed, or whatever. I don't care. I think it's worth doing a series like this. Ooh, that got lucky. Lucky I didn't blow out more of that corner there. Maybe this doesn't do well because it's not in focus. I don't know. It tends to behave when I look at it through the viewfinder. But I go back and review the video and I'm going, dang it. It's like only 30% in view in most cases. 30% in focus. Even though I'm in the frame, I'm trying to stay in the middle. If I adjust the camera this way, I still wander up high. I guess it's my peripheral vision prefers to see the image on this top edge of the viewfinder or something, because I always wander up. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I got lucky that I didn't remove more of that lower side of that notch. I did not get lucky right there, though. Step fracturing. It could be that this is so out of focus that people lose interest in this particular series. But I don't know. I usually don't have problems with the focus. Don't think. Just lately, I lost my ability to keep it in focus. Yeah. Skill regression is one of the things I was looking at with ADHD people. One week they know how to do something, the next week they've forgotten it. And it's like their skill goes backwards. Right? Skill regression. They can't maintain the skill because something happens and they forget. The brain changes the channel like you're a different person. And this other person doesn't know how to do this. That'd be scary. But yeah, discussing this made me think of that. I remember seeing that. And at the time I saw it, like last week or whatever, I said, no, that's not a thing. I don't think so. I think it's just because your brain gets burnt out easy, it doesn't want to do it. Yeah, so it forgets on purpose as a defense mechanism, and not because it's changing the channel arbitrarily or just all suddenly for no reason. The reason is it's a defense mechanism. Well, either way, I guess it happens, and it is a thing, either way. Whether it's on purpose or not. It's happening. You forget. I know my sons have that sometimes. They have autism, right? They do forget. They learn something one week, and then the next week is like didn't you just do it last week? Yeah, but I don't know why I didn't do it. Like, especially with laundry stuff. Things like that. I remember the period of time when they were learning to do laundry. Yeah, 1 week they were fine. They knew how to operate the machine and everything, and they knew all the things to add, what clothes to put together, what colors can go together, what is color fast and what is not. You can put all the color fast stuff together. It doesn't matter all that much. The stuff that's not color fast, you got to kind of remember. There's not that many that are not color fast these days, but like the jeans, blue jeans, and some of the other items of clothing are not color fast, so they'll stay in the other ones. Anyway, they'll learn all that in 1 week, and then maybe a couple weeks goes by, and they're doing laundry, and they go, "Dad, oh, my white clothes got pink." Didn't you learn how to do that the other week? Yeah, but I don't know why I did it. Yeah, okay. It's got to be skill regression. All right, so here we go. It's done. We're done. 3 of the same type. And yeah, they can be all in the same set because you can adjust the foreshaft weight. What do I do with it? But you know what I mean, right? You just adjust the weight of the foreshaft. And you can have all the same weight arrowheads, right? Just the points are a little different. So you can maximize your material. Right? Right. Okay. So that's it. Yes, yes. I like them. I like the blue glass. I think I like the green better. I'm going to nab some green glass. Excuse me. Ugh, I had too much to eat earlier. Yeah. All right, so I like the green glass a little bit better. But some of the other colors like olive and some of the other dark wine bottle glass works good too. We shall see. But yeah, this is a nice deep blue. Okay, so there it is. Can't see the notching. That bugs me. How do I get you to see the notching? I don't know. I can't hold it away from my hand unless I'm holding it. What can I set it on? Okay, what am I going to do? I need to capture the notching. Yeah. Hold on while we work on this little issue in the background. I say we because I don't want to be left alone to do it on my own. Yeah, can't get away from that. I am left alone to do it on my own. Can you see the notching a little bit better? No? The shadows are messing everything up? Yeah. That's not any better. I give up. Alrighty. This is not the most aggravating thing that I can possibly imagine doing. Oh no. Photography is so fun. It's not aggravating at all. Huh. Okay, there you go. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it.